My name is Maria. Welcome to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. I felt the red flag, but I couldn't quite explain it. He was a good guy, a really good guy, and he was kind, intelligent, and he had been through a lot. And he was really committed to doing the work. But the way that he talked about his life and some of the people in it, everything was hard, complicated, unfair, heavy. His ex, his other ex, his parents, his family, his parents, and all like similar stories, different day. And that's when I started to kind of see it, was the way that he was still identifying with the stories of the past. He identified as the victim each and every time in all of those stories. It was always about what was done to him instead of what he was seeing and learning and shifting. The people who identify themselves as the victims in these stories, in these repeated stories, and by the way, most likely they would never identify themselves as a victim, but the actions, the behaviors, the things that come out of their mouth, it is victim behavior. It is victim language. So the people who get stuck in these loops, it's a loop. That's exactly what it is. Let me give you an example. Shitty things happened in his childhood. Shitty things has happened in a lot of our childhoods, but whatever. A lot of shitty things happen in his childhood. And so every year at a certain time of year, it was always really heavy. It was always so heavy. And we had to talk about it. And I had to be there for him and try to figure out the best course of action. Okay, let's spend this time together instead. Let's do this instead. I was always trying to find ways to make it a more happy time of year. And if we were going to spend time with his family, that it would like how we can work it so um that it can actually be a beautiful time. What he said one time to his therapist as he was telling his therapist how he was feeling, because it was this time of year, and his therapist is like, well, did you tell Maria, or are you just carrying that alone? It's like, well, yeah, I've just been carrying it alone. And when he came home and told me that, I was like, oh my God, what do you mean you're carrying it alone? I've been hearing the same whole thing for 4 years, and every year I have felt a big responsibility to try to alleviate some of this pain and heaviness and and so I'm just telling you, it's this kind of mentality. It is programmed, it is ingrained, and it's so hard to be in a relationship with people like this because they don't see clearly. They don't see the effort that you make as the partner who tries to make it a happier time. And I'm not blaming them because I really deeply believe that this is unconscious behavior on their part. I really do. I don't think they're sitting there saying, I want to act like I'm the only one carrying this because it's going to serve my benefit and people will feel sorry for me. No, I think it operates on a completely unconscious level, subconscious level, whatever. And that makes it even worse. It makes it even worse because it's like on automatic pilot. And so to be on the receiving end of that is really freaking hard. And it's hard for them too, because they're looking at you as the partner, like, why isn't she showing compassion for me? And it's like, life can be hard and life can be shitty and life can feel sad and a lot of things. And so it's the human experience is deal with it, move through it, get the support you need to move through it and move on and choose to see the beauty that is. Now, I'm not going to go into like so deep into that kumbaya stuff and no toxic positivity. Like I deal with my shit, but I can also see the beauty in people and life and everything at the same time. Life is duality. I don't want to get like so deep into masculine and feminine energetics, but it does play the big role in all of our relationships. And this was a thing that came up so much in this relationship dynamic is someone who constantly needed to be held, through these things with his family and with his life. And the energy that is needed by him in those moments is mothering energy. You want to feel like your partner's got your back. You want to feel like your partner is holding you, that they're your rock. I mean, yes. However, this is where it gets really dicey because supporting your man as a woman, as a woman in her feminine, and supporting him and nurturing him and loving him as a woman is very different than, it's okay, honey. You're gonna be okay. I know that this has been your perpetual story for years, but you're still okay. I still am holding your hand. It just doesn't have the same, it's not the same. It's not the same. And it affects the dynamic where both people are unfulfilled. You know, he's not getting what he needs, you're not getting what you need as a woman, and it's just the dynamic, it's not a healthy one, it's not a harmonious one, and both people are going to feel unfulfilled and undesired and not protected and not safe, and it gets very complicated. So the victimhood mentality can keep a relationship going for some time, but it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable because sooner or later, someone's gonna crumble and someone's gonna be like, I don't want to be your mom. If the guy you're with continues to identify with old stories and identifies as the victim in those stories time and time again, that is a red flag, big red flag. And it's a hard one because you have compassion for him. Of course you do. And you understand why he's hurt and why he feels this way. That's beautiful. But you're not going to have the relationship you want. Trust me, it is a red flag because one, he is never fully present in that relationship. He will miss so much beauty that's right in front of his face. You'll want to shake him and just say, how can something be wrong right now? Like, don't you see like how beautiful this moment is, or how beautiful this life is, like how beautiful this is? He won't see it. He won't see it. And second of all, it's going to affect the way that you show up in the relationship. If you don't ever feel like you can soften and be in your feminine, if you don't feel like you can fully relax in the relationship or be held or safe, it's not going to be good. And this was one of the weirdest and strangest parts for me. So by nature, I'm very playful. I like to have fun. And so dance parties in the kitchen, let's bring games to family moments, especially when they're awkward and complicated and uncomfortable. Like that is me. And so, but when I was doing it inside of this relationship, it felt more performative. Like I needed to bring the energy, to bring the joy, to bring the happiness instead of just being it, or instead of just sharing it and letting it just be. And when that happens, you adapt, you respond accordingly, you become more independent, more self-contained, more in your own space, and less giving, less nurturing, less open. And so this never really deepened our relationship. And it wasn't because I didn't care. It was because I never felt held. So the hard truth for me was self-awareness without ownership. It kept me stuck. It's just going to keep you stuck in behaviors and patterns that you don't like about yourself and that your partner's not a fan of either. So you can't build a deep relationship with someone who is still identifying with stories of their past, because you'll end up carrying what they're not able to hold themselves. And listen, it can be in the most subtle ways. Like I would just have these moments where I'm like, everything just feels so freaking heavy. Like everything just feels so freaking heavy. There's always something wrong. There's always a problem, like heavy, heavy, heavy. And that's because it's little by little, like you're managing a little bit of energy here, a little bit of there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, until finally you're like, oh, I can't carry this anymore. Why is everything so freaking heavy? So if something feels off, even when they're a good person, ask yourself, can I actually relax in this relationship? Do I feel held? Or am I subtly managing the energy? So if you've left a relationship and you're wondering, was I compassionate enough? Listen closely. Yes, you were. no amount of compassion and understanding is going to give you the relationship that you want. If the person is still stuck as a victim in their old stories, it just won't change things. So if this hit, please save it or send it to someone you think it might help. So if you want more honest conversations like this one, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.